Namaste, and welcome back to this Yoga for Beginners video. Coming to the head of your mat with the hands together at the level of the heart. Allow yourself to ground here. Inhale as you lengthen and lift the arms up overhead. Elbows wrap in and shoulders slide down the back, lifting the ribs up and out of the hips as we begin the sun salutation. One more breath here. And then as you release, hinge at the hips and fold forward, long and neutral through the spine, lifting the head, the chest, and the tailbone. Doing so that we stretch through the hamstrings and still secure the back. Now inhaling, step your left leg back, place your left knee on the ground. Draw the pelvis up to perpendicular to the ground. Test that by lifting your right foot just slightly so you're back on left knee. And then reaching the arms overhead, elbows wrap in, shoulders slide downward. As you release, step your way back into downward dog. And with the elbows wrapping in, shoulders can broaden apart, bending the knees a little bit so you can lift up the tailbone. And then as you release, inhale and come forward to plank position. Exhaling, lowering downward halfway into Chaturanga Dandasana. Elbows wrap in. Release, take your way down to the ground with the hands behind the back, lifting up the tailbone, lift the head and the chest in armless cobra. A last breath, and we'll release with the hands down under the shoulders, tuck your toes, press your way up and back yet again in down dog. Lengthening through the hamstrings and opening the shoulders, and just one more breath here. And as you release, step your left leg forward and with the right knee on the ground, draw the pelvis upward to perpendicular to the ground. Test it again by lifting the left foot just a little bit. And as you find that your weight is distributed back onto the right knee, lift the chest, arms overhead. And as you release, step your way forward to forward bend. Lift the head, lift the chest, and the tailbone. And one more breath here. Then as you release, draw your way back and up to upward facing position. Lifting through pubic bone as you ground the sacrum, lift the chest and slide the shoulders, eye gaze upward. And then releasing from the position, return to your Namaste position. And we'll go again, inhaling, lengthen and lift the arms overhead, shoulders sliding down the back as we open the heart. And as you release, hinge at the hips to fold forward, long and neutral through the spine, protecting the back by engaging the back body muscles, stretching through the hamstrings. Inhaling, step your right leg back. With the right knee bending, draw the pelvis upward into perpendicular to the ground, arms reaching overhead, deepening in Virabhadrasana, the warrior posture. And releasing, hands down and step your way back into down dog. Elbows wrap in so the shoulders can slide up along the back of the rib cage. Releasing, inhale as you come forward to plank position. And exhaling, lowering slowly halfway down in this yogic push-up of Chaturanga Dandasana. And from here, press your way up into Cobra. Elbows wrap in, shoulders are sliding, and lift the chest as well as the head and eye gaze upward. And as you release, tuck your toes, press your way up and back yet again in down dog. Breathing as you're reaching through, stretching through the shoulders and the legs. Now step your right leg forward, bending your left knee, draw the pelvis upward into perpendicular to the ground as arms reach overhead, deepening as you exhale. Inhalation, step your way to forward bend, hinging at the hips, neutral through the spine as we stretch the hamstrings. Inhalation, draw your way back and up to upward facing posture. The elbows wrap in as the shoulders slide down the back. And releasing, drawing your way back to standing mountain. We're going to start to pick up the pace, and as we do so, taking one full breath per posture, inhale to lengthen and lift upward, exhaling, reach through, inhale, hinge at the hips to fold forward, exhaling, lift up through the sit bones, inhale, left leg back, Ground through the pelvis as you reach. Exhale, deepening. Inhalation, step your way back to down dog. Exhale here, press back and lift the tail. Inhale forward to plank position, and exhale lowering halfway into stick, and then press it through. Inhale up to cobra. Exhaling, shoulders slide down the back as we lift the eyes. Inhale up and back to down dog. Exhale here, press back and lift up. Inhalation, left leg forward, grounding through the pelvis as you reach, and exhale to deepen. Inhalation, step to forward bend. Exhale here, neutral through the spine, protecting the back, and then inhale back and up to upward facing posture. Exhale to reach it through. Inhale, return to standing mountain. Exhale as you center, and again like this. Inhale to lengthen and lift. Exhale, reaching through. Inhalation, hinging at the hips. Exhale, lift your sit bones. Inhalation, right leg back. Ground through the pelvis as you reach. Exhaling as you deepen. Inhalation, step your way back into downward dog. Exhaling, take it a little farther. Inhale forward to plank, and exhaling, lowering into stick. Inhale up to cobra. Exhaling, shoulders slide down the back as you lift the eyes. Inhale up and back to down dog. Exhale, press back and lift the tail. Inhale, right leg forward, grounding through the pelvis as you reach. Exhale to deepen. Inhalation, step to forward bend. Exhale here, still neutral through the spine and our forward bends, protecting that back. Inhale back and up to upward facing posture. Exhale, reach it through. Inhale, return to standing mountain. And grounding with 3 breaths. Inhale as you expand the arms, and exhale, draw your energy back where you need it. Inhale as you open upward, and exhale to recenter. And once again like this. And exhaling. Now from here, inhale and expand the legs to the sides of your mat, a leg distance apart as you fold forward, hinging at the hips. With the hands behind the back, interweave the fingers and reach the arms up and over back behind you, opening through the chest. As you do so, please still maintain your neutral spine, protecting the back. And then as you're able, exhale and draw your way back and up to standing. Opening the right leg to the right, keeping both hips squared forward, beginning to construct Trikonasana. Your 2 hips refer to the left heel. With the hands behind the back, you're strengthening through the core. As you let the right hand come anywhere along the right leg and reach up, looking towards your left arm. Have a chance to open through the chest, looking upward, opening back the chest to the left. Now exhaling, let yourself come up, bending your right knee, shifting the hips again to the left heel, developing into your upward extended side angle. Arms behind the back as you work with the core, and right hand develops along the right leg, and left arm reaches up and overhead. Head and eyes looking under that left arm. And last breath. As you release, draw your hands down, scoot your left foot in closer to the right, and squaring the hips, let yourself come into pyramid position. Feel free to walk the hands up along the right leg should you need to in order to maintain neutral spinal length. If all is well, you could take the hands behind the back and begin to rotate to your right side in this armless rotated triangle. Developing through the use of the arms, if you wish, then left hand could come anywhere along the right leg and turn and look to your outstretched right hand. One more breath as you're here. As you release, untwist, and lunging into your right knee, slide your left leg back. With the hands behind the back, we begin to construct rotated extended side angle, engaging through the core of the body. And then developing with the left arm, crossing that right thigh, prayer position to lift as you turn to your right. One more breath here. And as you release from the posture, bring your way forward to forward restful position. And in doing so, hinging at the hips, still neutral through the spine, you might again use the hands behind the back, emphasizing the opening across the front of the chest, still maintaining that neutral spine. And exhaling as you draw your way back and up through neutral to take the sequence to the second side. Rotating open your left leg to the left, hinging in the left hip, developing both sides of the pelvis, referring to the right heel. With the hands behind the back, working in the core of the body as we construct the triangle posture. Then utilizing the arms to support with the left hand anywhere along the left leg and the right arm reaching to the right side of the shoulder. As you release, exhale and allow yourself to widen the stance between the legs, bending into that left knee. Both sides of the pelvis still refer to the right heel. Hands behind the back as you're working in a way that's intensive for the core, and then the gradual development of left hand anywhere along left leg, and that right arm reaches up and overhead. Right elbow wraps in so shoulder can slide. And as you release, take the hands to the ground perhaps. Draw the right leg in closer, lengthening through the spine as we construct the pyramid posture, made of straight lines as the name implies, and then utilizing that base with the hands behind the back, lift through the head and the chest and begin to turn to your left in this armless rotated triangle. Once you find your way in, right hand might come along the left leg and left arm can reach up, head and eye gaze looking towards that left hand. And one more breath here. Then as you release, you can untwist and stepping your right leg back a little bit farther with that right heel up, left knees bending, hands behind the back, working through the core as we turn to the left in this rotated extended side angle. And then with right elbow crossing the left thigh, prayer position gives us a little leverage in which we can lift and turn a little farther to the left. And as you release, untwist and draw your way back to forward restful position. Hand position as you wish. You might take it into subtle undulations side to side through the spine, and with it bending one knee at a time, circling through one hip and the other. Also the elbows can simply bend so you can circle through the shoulders. Now when you release, draw your way back and up, and gathering energy. Inhale as you expand the arms, and exhale, collect back to center. Inhale, expanding, and exhaling, contracting. And once again like this. And exhale. And now from here, let yourself shift into the focus of one-legged balances. In doing so, shift the body weight slightly side to side, and choosing the right leg to stand on, lift up your left leg. Keep the hips squared forward. And breathing as you're reaching through. The senses of pressing back through the left heel, pressing back through the left heel. And then from there, draw the left heel into the buttock. So stretching through the front of the left hip and through the left quad. Lifting the left knee up and back behind you, developing more completely through that. And then as you release, come on back down and shift the body weight into the left leg. Taking the right leg up, flexing through right heel, push the heel back. And release, push back and suspend, still keeping the pelvis vertical. And again like this, pressing back and suspending. And then stretching a tiny bit with the two hands back to the right foot, draw the right heel into the right buttock. And gradually developing through lifting the right knee back behind you so you're stretching across the front of the right hip and the right quad. Then as you release, come on back down. With your 2 feet on the ground, circle through the knees, ankles, feet, and the toes too, wiggling in one direction and the other, refreshing those low leg muscles. And from here, draw your way back up into standing on the right leg. Take your left hand back onto the left ankle, reaching the left knee back, developing into this baby dancer's posture with the pelvis vertical, chest is lifting, head and eye gaze is upward. And then from here, allowing that right hand to start to approach the ground as we develop through the baby dancer's half moon. Stack the left hip on top of the right. With the left hand holding left foot, reach left hand and foot back behind you. Stretching and lengthening, maybe lifting the right hand off the ground to challenge your ability to balance more. And from there, as you're able, we'll start to release and come on back up to standing. We'll start to shift it to the second side, and as you do, standing through your left leg, lift up your right foot, and right hand will come to the right foot. Left arm reaches overhead. With the pelvis vertical, start to draw the right knee back behind you, developing through the extension across the front of the right hip, as well as through the spine. In this dancer's posture. Now as you release, we'll start to take it into the half moon variation. Bending the left knee a little bit to allow that left hand to come down to the ground. Lift your right hip up on top of the left hip. Right hand draws right foot back behind you as the head and eye gaze helps to stabilize the position. Over time, you might develop through in such a way that you can lift that left hand off the ground, challenging your balance. And then as you release, come on back and up to standing and gathering that energy back together. Drawing it where you need it. Inhale, expand the arms to the side body, and exhale, collect your energy. And again like this. And exhaling. Now from here, draw your way down into an all fours position, and then shifting your hips back towards the heels. The head can come down to the ground in your prayer position. Let yourself pause here and consider the changes that have been occurring. Perhaps translating these changes into your new present prayer. And then from here, come down onto your belly. Once you're on your belly, take your hands behind the back. Lift up the tailbone and the legs, as well as the head, the chest, and the eye gaze. Breathing as you reach through your locust position. Strengthening through the back, protecting the back with that strength, and then release and come back down and give yourself just a moment's rest. Now from here, crossing your left leg over the right, resuming the lifting of tailbone, two legs, and the head and eye gaze. Breathing as you're reaching through, strengthening and lengthening, and then releasing. And then crossing in the opposite direction. With right foot over left, tailbone lifts, the legs lift, so do the head, the eyes, the chest, strengthening through the back body, protecting the back body, and then release and come on back down. And use the hands to press your way up and back into your prayer position yet again. In the prayer, we have a moment's rest in which we're stretching through the back body, especially in the low back. In this way, now reach your two hands over to the right side, emphasizing the stretch through the left side of the low back. And one more breath here. And then as you release from the posture, come back through center and walk it over to the left side with the two hands far to the left, emphasizing the right side of the low back, stretching and lengthening, opening. And then as you release, come on back up, undraw your way back into your all fours position. On your hands and knees, reach your right hand underneath your left. Let your right elbow, shoulder, and ear come to the ground, developing into this gentle stretch through the back of the right shoulder and right shoulder girdle, breathing as you're reaching through. Then as you release, draw your way back up through all fours posture so that we can take it to the second side. Left hand reaches under and way beyond the right, with left elbow, shoulder, and left ear on the ground. We're breathing as we reach through, opening through the back of the left shoulder girdle. Then release, draw your way back and up through your all fours position, so that then we might come up and over onto our backs. Now hug the knees into the chest. And stretching through that low back just a little bit. Now begin with the right hand on right knee, circling your right knee open, circling it open, circling it open. Then as you're able, you'll start to develop through the circling of the right leg, straightening through right knee, circling through the hip, Then maybe the left leg can extend along the ground, and we continue circling the leg, opening it, making sure there are no clicks or pops in that movement. If there are, simply slow down and let yourself diminish the range of motion, and reversing your direction of circling, coordinating the muscles that surround the hip. And from there, draw your right knee back into the chest. And shifting to your second side. With now the left knee drawing in, with the left hand on the left knee, circle through that left knee, allowing that left hip to have the sense of that action, breathing as you're reaching through. As well, you might extend through the left knee and take that circling wider and broader without the left hand helping. See to it that the right hip is completely grounded. And then gradually extending through right leg and continue the circling action of the left. Breathing as you're reaching it through. Again, making sure there are no clicks or pops. And then you might reverse that direction of circling through the hip. And then give yourself the knee hugging back into the chest. Let the right knee join the left, returning to that wind relieving position. Now crossing the right leg over the left, hug your two knees into the chest, stretching through the outer hips in this reclined cow-facing posture. And one more breath. Then take the hands to the feet, drawing the feet wide to the side of the knees. Right hand has left foot. Left hand has right foot, deepening the stretch and the deep lateral rotators. And then from there, we'll switch it up and the same two positions on the second side. Two knees drawing into the chest, left leg's on top, right knee's under. Feeling the sensation in the outer buttock. And breathing as you're reaching it through. Developing the hands to opposite feet, drawing the feet to the sides of the knees, deepening the stretch and the deep lateral rotators. In this reclined variation of Gomukhsan, one variation of steer posture. Then release from here and uncrossing the legs. Take the 2 feet back down to the ground and start to roll over onto your right side. With the right hand supporting the head, use your left hand along the left leg, ankle, calf, foot. Stretching and opening through the inner left thigh. In this position of Anatasana, breathing as you reach through. The reclined couch position for Lord Vishnu. As you release, let's come up and over to your second side. Be lying on your left side. Left hand will support the head and neck initially, and then using your right hand, draw upward with the right leg, knee, calf, ankle, maybe foot. Breathing as you're reaching through. Over time, you might allow yourself to deepen into that position, opening through the inner left thigh with left hip stacked on top of the right. And as you release from the posture, come on back out and onto your belly. And breathing as you're reaching. Giving yourself a moment's rest. And then bending your 2 knees. Walk your hands back to the ankles, drawing the heels into the buttocks, stretching through the front of both thighs at the same time in this variation of frog posture. Shifting now, drawing your right knee forward, opening right knee to the right side, come down onto your forearms as we stretch through the outer right hip in this half pigeon pose. With your left forearm on the ground, left hand to the right knee, Press down through the left elbow, lift up through the head and the chest as you turn and look to the right. Breathing as you're reaching through. Now releasing from the posture, untwist, and transition your way back through a down dog or perhaps just an all fours posture. And then we'll take it to the second side. Left knee comes forward, opening to the left, and then we come down onto the forearms. Left hip draws back, right hip's pressing forward. And staying on your right forearm, right elbow's on the ground, right hand comes to the left knee, pressing down through that right elbow to lift as you twist to the left. Left hand can come back behind you onto the sacrum or buttock, or maybe to that left foot all the way. As you release, come on back out, untwisting, and bring your way back into a seated posture. Now with the left leg under and the right leg on top, we start to construct Sukhasana, or the easy pose, hinging at the hips, folding forward, maintaining a neutral spine. Over time, the hands or forearms or elbows might come to the ground. Although if we need the hands back behind the hips to help to support that neutral spine, both are totally welcome. With the foot on top of the knee and the other knee under the other foot, we have just the right position for stretching those outer rotators. Now from here, deepening the stretch, cross the right leg on top of the left with the right knee on top of left knee. Right hands up, left hands under, reaching behind our heart, in the full construction of cow-facing posture, Gomukhasana. You'll be welcome to use a strap behind your back to help to hook those two hands together should you need to. Hinging at the hips with the spine neutral, breathing as you're reaching through. And then we'll come back and up and start to make the transition to your second side. Now transitioning, use the hands on the feet to widen the feet away from the hips. As you do so, this takes the sensation a little deeper in the lateral rotators of the buttock, hinging at the hips as you're folding forward. Still maintaining the neutral spinal length. Hands are helping to support that spine, remaining neutral as you experience the sensation of stretching in the outer buttock. And then as you're able, we'll release and let's come on back up and uncross the legs so we can recross in the opposite direction in this three-part sequence. Now with your left foot on top of right knee, right foot under left knee, hinge at the hips as you fold forward in the posture that's called Sukhasana, or easy pose. Also thought of as the fire log posture by many, as the two legs are stacked on top of one another like fire logs. And our outer buttocks tend to have a little sensation of burning as we're stretching through the lateral rotators. And as you release, come on up and let's draw those knees on top of one another. So left knee's on top and right knee's under. And then hinging at the hips as you begin to fold forward. Now with your left hand up and over behind you, and the right hand up and back behind your heart. With the hands behind the heart, hinge at the hips as you're folding forward and breathing as you're reaching through. Maintaining the spinal length. And as you release and come on back up, start to transition with the feet a little bit wider apart, out to the sides of the knees, not back in by the hips. And with the hips right behind those stacked knees, hinge at the hips and begin to fold forward, neutral through the spine, breathing as you're reaching through. Holding steady and strong with the position. And then when you're ready, come on back up. And now drawing your way back into a seated position and stretching your legs forward. Take your left foot to the inner right thigh. Hinging at the hips, folding forward, maintaining the neutral spinal length in Mahamudra, the big prayer position. Opening through the right hamstring and still lengthening through the spine. Breathing as you're reaching through, working at your own level, at your own pace. Letting your breath and your spine continue to be your guides. And as you release, draw your weight back and up. Open your left knee a little farther to the left side so you have a 90-degree position between your two thighs. Folding now over that right knee, allow yourself to gently flex through the trunk. The two hands will come to the right foot, and this is a little deeper stretch through the outer left side of the waistline. As you release, we'll come up and take that same basic position and rotating through the trunk. Turn and look to the left. Reach the left arm overhead. Left hand might come up and over to the right foot. Breathing as you're reaching through, lengthening and opening through the side of the waistline. Working at your own pace and your own depth. And then release and draw your weight back and up. And square your two legs forward yet again in Dandasana. And then from here, working in this three-part sequence to the second side, right foot to the inner left thigh, hinging at the hips as you fold forward, neutral through the spine in Mahamudra, opening through left hamstring and through the back. And last breath here. And then as you release, draw your trunk back and up, and open your right knee to the right side so you have a 90-degree position between the two thighs. Turning the trunk towards the left, head down to the left knee in Janu Shirshasana. Head to knee posture. In doing so, the stretch is through the right low back. Now rotating that same position, lift up through the trunk and begin to turn to the right. Left arm might reach forward of that left leg, and the right hand can reach up and over towards your left foot. Head and eye gaze looking under that right arm, working at your right depth. So you can still breathe as you're reaching through. And then release and come on back up. And take your two legs forward yet again. Now from here, let yourself come back onto the back. Bending the knees, plant the feet down and onto the ground. Press and lift the hips up. With the hips lifted, take the hands down to the ground. And lift up through your right leg, flexing through right heel, turn right foot open. The two knees are parallel, and breathing as you reach through. And shifting to the other side for this one-legged bridge, lifting up your left leg, flexing through left heel as you take a slight lateral rotation. Two knees are together as the hips lift, and then release, and come on back down. Hug your two knees into the chest, stretching through the low back. And then as you're able, take the feet down to the ground, hands up and over by the shoulders, and press and lift your hips up, opening through the chest, pressing through the strong legs to draw the chest forward, opening through the heart, breathing as you're reaching through. And then as you release, draw your way back and down safely from this back bend, hugging your knees into the chest, stretching and easing through the low back. And coming into a second practice with the feet down to the ground by the hips, hands up and over by the shoulders, press and lift up. You might initially lift up the heels to get the press through the toes and metatarsals. Then gradually, heels might come down to the ground. Emphasis is on opening through the heart. The ears are right between the arms as you breathe and reach through. Use that exhalation to take yourself a little farther. And then as you start to come back and out of the position, hug the knees into the chest as you lie back down on the ground, easing out the back, shifting a little bit side to side. And then from here, drawing your right leg up, stretching through the right hamstring. Breathing as you're reaching through. Now bending through the left knee, start to turn with the right leg crossing to the left. Reach your right hand down to the left foot, drawing the left knee back in this quad stretching and hamstring stretching variation of your reclined twist. As you release from the posture, come on back through center and we'll change it up to the second side. As you do so, extend through your left leg. And with that right knee bent, you'll start to roll over with left leg to the right side, with the left hip on top of the right. Left hand will reach back behind you to that right foot to deepen the stretch through your right quad and the left hamstring in this variation of your reclined twist. Any other variations are completely welcome, of course, as covered in the previous videos. Then as you release, you might come back through into center. In doing so, bend your knees and take your hands to the feet, shifting just a little bit side to side in this happy baby posture. The knees are eased, and the shifting side to side. It's a little bit of a massage through the low back, and a little easement for the hips as well. And then from here, as you're able, start to stretch back out, reclining back into your corpse position. Reclining back, breathing as you're reaching through. Releasing into the ground. Letting go of your efforts so that you might experience the benefit. Studying the changes that have taken place in your body, as well as in your mind and your soul from these practices today. Allowing yourself to stay in Shavasana or the corpse position for as long as is right for you. And from here, as you're able, come on back up with us into the vertical position, pausing to notice the changes that have occurred within your body, mind, and spirit. Taking it into a little round of Bhastrika breathing, exhaling, expelling the breath, contracting the abdomen back within, using this breath to help to expel any untoward energies that may have come to your attention from today's practice. On each expulsion of breath, feel the abdomen contracting back within to support you in this deep house cleaning practice. 10 more. 9, 8, 7, 6. That's it. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now exhale. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. And exhaling, still maintaining that spinal length. Now coming into a second round of the Bhastrika breathing as you're able to. Inhale through both nostrils and exhale, expel the breath. The belly draws back within as the air exits through the nostrils. Picking up the pace as you feel comfortable, feeling that you're seated evenly on the 2 sit bones. That the head, neck, and shoulders are constant. The last 10. And exhaling. Now inhale to lengthen through the spine. Retaining the breath. And exhaling, maintaining the spinal length still. Now allow your breath to go on to its own rhythm, pausing to notice further the changes that have occurred within body, mind, and soul. May these changes ultimately bring you ever more back into your truest essence, your higher self. this way. May these energies go with you outward to benefit your whole world